Okay, now what we need to fix our error that we have currently in our BPEL model is to create a copy rule. So I'm simply going to double click on our assign activity, and we need to create a copy rule. So when the screen pops up, what we need is to click on this create statement. What this is going to allow us to do is create a from and to type of a situation where we're going to be able to pick up the input information that's coming in and copy it to the output area. So I'm simply going to click on the create option here. And I get a copy rule screen here that has a from and a to situation. So on the from side, essentially, where am I picking up my input variable value from? And on the to side, where am I going to place the initial value? So under the variable side on the from clause, we have two input sides. We have an input variable and an output variable. Again, this came from the template that was created when we decided to create a synchronous process. On the output side, on the to side, again, we'll have an input and an output variable. Now, from the from side, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to create something called an expression. We're going to use the XPath expression builder. So again, XPath allows us to drill into a XML document and extract out just a portion of it. So I'm going to go to and choose the expression option from the drop-down list here. So you don't really have to know XPath and be familiar with the XPath types of statements here, because we can actually use an XPath builder here. And all modeling tools that you're going to come across from different vendors are going to have this particular capability. So this one has a little icon next to it called the XPath Expression Builder. So I'm simply going to click on that. And what it's going to bring up here is this XPath Expression Builder concept panel here. So rather than having to know what the actual statements happen to be using XPath, I can simply look down here in the lower left hand corner and I'll see all of the different types of functions that I can plug in with XPath. And what we're going to do here is we're going to choose a concatenation function. So on the XPath I have a concatenation capability. I'm simply going to double click on that. And it's going to create a concatenation statement. What the concatenation statement is going to take a string value. So my first string value here, I'm just simply going to type in the word hello as my first string component for the concatenation, and I'm going to follow that by a comma. So I'm going to plug in an additional value here, and the additional value is going to come from my input variable data. So I see a pop-up screen that's going to help me with what I'm looking for, but we're going to go back to the variables folder over here. We're going to drill down. I'm going to drill down to input variable, and I see that on the input variable I've got one value called payload. I'm going to drill into payload, and as I keep on going down, I'm going to see I'm going to have one input field here. So NS1, of course, is going to be the namespace area associated with the definition of this particular variable. And what I want to do here is I'm simply going to select this input variable choice here, and I'm going to double click on that. And what it's going to do, it's going to complete my concatenation statement. So what I want to do here is I want to concatenate the word hello with the value that's coming in on the input. So remember, what we're doing here is we're creating a simple hello world here. So we're going to have a hello, and then we're going to have a message statement that's going to drop in here. So as I scroll down through this particular concatenation option with the XPath, I'm drilling into the input variable, I'm looking at the payload, and then I'm going in and I'm getting the input value off of the input message itself. So you can see the completed statement here as far as what the XPath statement looks like. So I'm simply going to click on the OK button here. That's going to complete my XPath definition, which I'm going to now see on the left-hand side, on the from side of things. And now we need to complete the to. So I need to know where this particular value is going to go to on the output side. So on the output side, it's going to be a variable. So I'm simply going to drill down through output variable, drill down through the output variable payload, and drill down through the process, hello world process response, and I'll see a result value pop in here. So I'm simply going to double click on the result value to select that. So I can see that now I've got the resulting value is going to pop in, and I'm going to generate a statement here by clicking on the OK. So when I click on the OK, I'll be able to see the copy rule has basically been defined now. So I've got an input side and I've got an output side. On the input side is going to be the expression. On the output side is going to be the definition to the actual variable itself. And I'm simply going to click on the OK button here and click on the close option here. And I'm going to come back in and I'm going to run the validation process once again. So normally what I want to do here is I want to do the validate. So most of the process models have a validate capability. So I'm simply going to click on the validate button. And as soon as I do that, notice that my error on that assign statement has disappeared because we've completed the copy rule. And so now we've got an input value coming in. We're pulling it off of the input message. We're using XPath to go in and extract out what that message happens to be, and then we're doing an assignment to the output message payload so we can send that response back to the client.